Body game post-divorce. Why is it after a divorce, a lot of women are quick to head back to the gym and get their glow up on, get their best body? As a fitness trainer, this is something I've absolutely noticed. How quick a lot of women seem to commit to the gym. And when I see this, I say to myself, where are the guys? Where are the men? So in this video, I wanted to offer a few tips that a lot of you guys can do, whether you are going through a divorce right now, or maybe you have been through a divorce and you're trying to get back into shape. Tip number one, start moving. It's very basic. You don't necessarily always have to go to the gym. In fact, when I see a guy come into my office and he wants to get in shape, I ask him, well, what do you like to do? This is the gym. I don't know if you're a gym guy. And many times a lot of guys say, well, I don't really like the gym. So I'm like, you don't have to be in the gym to get in shape. You can do stuff outside. You can do calisthenics. I know some of you who follow me have commented on calisthenics, or you can do an activity that absolutely gets your heart rate going, whether it's swimming, whether it's softball, whether it's even jogging. I don't care. Just do something. Don't stay sedentary, especially if you have a sedentary job. Get your butt off the couch and start moving. What I would recommend is doing some basic jogging, anything between 20 and 30 minutes a day, maybe 3 times a week to get started. Just get your feet wet. It's not about setting the bar so high that you can't attain these goals. You want to set the bar to a level where you can easily achieve these goals and then add on some more progressively. Second tip, get your diet on point. In fact, I don't like to use the word diet because a lot of people make that connotation about restricting calories and all that stuff. I'm just talking about making healthier food choices. So what happens is that a lot of my male clients, I do have a few male clients who have been through a divorce. They basically admit that the ex-wife was the one who was making the meals, prepping the meals, shopping for the food. And so they don't really have that kind of experience in the kitchen. Sure, they know how to boil an egg, make some omelets, that kind of stuff. But I strongly recommend making better food choices. A lot of my male clients who've been through divorce, well, they do a lot of Uber Eats. And instead of getting something healthier, they opt for the burger, they opt for the pizza. And I get it. Divorce is traumatic, but at the same time, if you want to change your body, if you want to become healthier, especially if you're trying to get back into the dating market, we'll talk about that momentarily, well, then you need to start making those adjustments when it comes to food. Tip number 3, learn how to cook. I'm talking about basic food here, basic meals, things that can carry you over for the rest of the day. You don't always have to grab a microwave dinner or something that's convenient, laced with salt and preservatives. Chances are, if you're cooking it, you know exactly what you're putting inside of the dish. For instance, some of my favorite dishes that I rely on, chicken, rice, and some type of vegetable. But when it comes to lasagna, I'll replace the fattier cheeses for something a little leaner. And instead of opting for that ground beef that's laced in fat, and I know it tastes better, maybe I'll get a piece of ground beef that actually is slightly leaner. So that's what I mean by making those adjustments. And at the same time, I cook it myself. Sure, I can hop on Uber Eats and order a lasagna for myself, but chances are it's probably laced in sodium and a few other things I don't really want to put inside my body. So start cooking, learn a couple recipes, and at least you'll have a foundation. Tip number 4, and y'all may not like this one, reduce the alcohol. Now, I'm not going to say stop consuming alcohol. I know it's very hard. Some of us love our beer. Some of us love our spirits, but if you can, reduce it by 50%, right? It's all about making these gradual and progressive changes. So if you are the kind of guy who likes to drink maybe 5 or 6 beers, my roommate back in the day, he'd consume at least 6 or 7 beers per day. And so I'd like to recommend possibly scaling it down. Instead of 6, maybe drop it down to 3, weaning yourself off of it progressively. And after a month, maybe even 1. And then after month 2, nothing. Alcohol is one of those things that just ruins your physique, right? The occasional time I'll go for a drink, I'll notice it in my physique literally overnight. It seems to develop a layer of fat or a bloat right here in my gut, and I don't like it. And it does take a number of cardio sessions to help mitigate that damage. So if you can, reduce the alcohol consumption. It's not about going from 1 to 10 overnight, but these gradual shifts, these gradual changes can work wonders. Tip number 5, if you're going through a gray divorce, right? These are guys who've been married for 10, 15 years. They're in their 40s and 50s and sometimes even in their 60s. And the wife says, you know what, I think it's done. Well, one thing you want to do is get your butt in the gym. Start strength training, right? A lot of us older guys, I'm 50 by the way, well, we go through things like endopause. It's similar to menopause, something our female counterparts go through, but it's a little different, all right? And at this stage, we need to worry about hormonal balance, the way we feel physically as well as mentally. And one of the things to mitigate this is getting your butt in the gym. Just be active. Start with a basic strength training program. You can start hitting the gym 3 or 4 times a week. You don't have to go all out and assault your body 5 or 6 days a week. I think that's a little excessive. If you want, you can do that in the future. But if it's your first time in the gym in, let's say, a decade or so, start small, 3 to 4 times a week, 1 hour tops, you're good to go. Tip number 6, well, this is an easy one, but believe it or not, a lot of guys aren't doing this. Hydrate. Drink more water. Instead of drinking the beers and the wines and all the spirits, just drink more water. Simple as that. Tip number 8, do not isolate yourself. I know divorces are traumatic. I have friends who are actually going through divorce right now. And one of the things we try to do is get together at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, and we hang out. Not necessarily in the gym. Maybe we'll go for a walk. Maybe they'll come over, we'll watch the game, that kind of stuff. But don't isolate yourself. Because when you're alone, that's when you start plotting. That's when you start ruminating. And as a result, it raises your stress level, which leads me to my last and final point. Reduce your stress. Try to eliminate activities and thought processes that actually raise your stress level. And again, I'm not trying to minimize the divorce process, and I know it's very difficult for men, especially men who are pretty much losing their shirt, but reduce the stress. This is what leads to heart attack. This is what leads to stroke. This is what leads to mental issues, mental instability. And so reduce the stress. You know, if you have to have a crash out moment, take it out in the gym. I've seen this before. I remember I had a client of mine. He's going through a really tough divorce, very lengthy process. And every now and then we just have what I'd call a crash out workout, where I'd let him do what he wanted to do, within reason, of course. I didn't want him to hurt himself. But if he just wanted to bench out his frustration, I would be there spotting him so he can work out his frustration. And believe it or not, at the end of the workout, he felt 10 times better. The gym can be a form of therapy. It could be a way to release some stress, and it could also be a great way to work off some of that frustration. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. If you guys have any more comments or perhaps tips for other guys who are currently going through a divorce, well, then leave them down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And with that said, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Most men over 40 and 50 are making these 3 arm training mistakes. I explain all of them in my free Big Arm Blueprint. Just click the link in the description and start building the arms you've always wanted. Or visit jawlinefitness.com/bigarm.